All right, Jeff Zimmerman here. You know who I'm with. Tim Bradley Jr., the Hall of Famer. Man, he's got one of the best YouTube channels out there, Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr., with all the fight analysis coming off this big weekend, man. Everybody's been waiting to hear from you, Tim. How you been?
I'm great, Jeff. Hey, thanks for having me on again, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, we just got done with a big fight weekend, possibly the biggest fight weekend of the year, at least on paper.
Yeah.
And the fight everyone's been talking about, and we'll get into some of the others, but Norman Jr., Devin Haney, the dream. You had a lot to say going in. What did you see? What were your thoughts?
Look, first of all, I'll be remiss if I don't, say congratulations to the Haney, his whole camp, his whole team. They did a phenomenal job, had a great game plan going into the fight, great fight strategy. He was able to execute. Definitely Haney proved me wrong. You know what I mean? I thought Haney was damaged goods. Obviously, he's not. I'll talk a little bit about what I saw also, just a little of what I saw. But for the most part, I want to give him his blessings and give him his praises, give him his flowers right now, man. He fought a brilliant fight, man. And let me just say this: everything that this man has been through, the ridicule, dealing with guys like myself, dealing with the media, dealing with fans, non-fans, just the doubters in general, and for him to be able to bounce back from that, man, that alone right there is Hall of Fame material in my eyes. You know what I mean? Because I've been through that. You know what I'm saying? But what doesn't kill you and make you stronger, and that's what people need to understand. You can ask Shakur Stevenson about that. You can ask, Teofimo Lopez about that, and all these other guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, people think that, because I'm hard on these guys, or because, I look at these guys from a different set of lens, that I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm wrong. I no, it's my opinion. It's what I think. But when they prove me wrong, you know what I mean? Like, that's joy to me. You know what I'm saying? You proved me wrong. You showed that, what I'm saying, that you not nothing wrong with you. You all good, and that, you just beat a real talented fighter in the welterweight division to become uh, a third division world champion. You know, boxing, I think, in life in general, need people like me. You need people like me. So, hey, like, what did Al Pacino say? Hey, so you can point the finger at the bad guy, right?
Hmm.
Ain't that what he said? You need people like me, because check this out. The overall, like, the legacy, right? The legacy is built on people like me. Because guess what? A lot of people was feeling the same way I was feeling, but they weren't saying it. I said it. You overcome that, all of that, right? Before the fight, man, we don't know about Devin Haney's chin. We don't know about his chin. Like, his chin is suspect. He in there with a real puncher. Like, this dude, Norman Jr., is eradicating memory. You know what I'm saying? This dude is coming off 3 consecutive back-to-back highlight reel knockouts, right? This dude is athletic. He has amateur pedigree along with him, that goes along with him as well. And he's mentally focused throughout, right? This is a guy that stayed in shape, got that title, stayed in shape. You can see small progressions in his game. So I know what I'm looking at. I'm saying, man, this kid is dangerous. This kid is different, you know. And for Haney to get in there and do what Haney did against him, guess what? Guess what we just built up? A legend.
Hmm.
A straight up legend. So let's take that. I'm not taking anything away from Norman. Norman is a killer, man, and he young, and he not in his prime just yet, and he'll be back. His time wasn't that time, but damn it, when I watched Haney this time around, it's the best Devin Haney I've ever seen. Some may disagree, but this is the best Devin Haney. This was a Devin Haney that was sure. This dude can't. This guy, from the press conference, I knew something was different about him. From the press conference, the last press conference they had, and when he's standing in front and he's bobbing and weaving, and he had all that energy. And Norman, to me, looked like he was tired, man. Norman, to me, looked like he ain't slept, right?
Hmm.
In these big fights, if you ain't been there before, bro, it's hard to relax. It's hard to go to sleep. This was the biggest fight of Norman Jr.'s career. You know, Devin Haney been there before. Ryan Garcia, Lomachenko, packed house, big, huge arenas. He's been there before. So to see him how comfortable and relaxed and how confident he was, I was like, oh, man. And then when he walked out, he had the Floyd Mayweather, you know what I'm saying, goatee. You know what I mean? He's saying all of Floyd Mayweather sayings and stuff. And I'm like, this dude has been studying Floyd Mayweather. We might get a little baby Floyd in there tonight. You know, that's what I'm thinking in my mind. And then when I'm watching Norman walk out, his eyes still look a little sunk in, like he ain't slept. However, look, the game plan when Dev stepped out, when that bell rung, and he stepped out and kept his feet still. He was set to punch. He was ready defensively, right? And just that pre-engagement, just that small little movement, you know what I mean? Norman had to respect it. Because you being a fighter, you can feel like when you standing in front of a guy and his movements, you can feel that IQ. You can feel it. Norman felt that IQ. And not only did he feel the IQ, he also felt those stompers. You know, I told you guys, man, on the channel, I was like, bro, like, Dev, you can say whatever you want. Dev can't crack. Dev can't this. Dev can't. Okay, look, you can't believe in all of that. The Normans can't be believing that. You got to get in there and test that power yourself. You know, because the shot that you don't see will hurt you. You know, obviously it did. So, you know, in that second round, it was monstrous. You know, the punches that you don't see are the ones that hurt you. It's about timing. It's about accuracy, right? It's about placement. And the way Dev was able to place that shot, and you know, they always say don't hook with a hooker. Dev hooked with him. That shows you right there that Dev wasn't afraid. Dev was like, hey, I'm here. I'm here, and I'm him. You know, and he hooked with him. And his was sharper. His was more accurate. Landed right on the money. He heard him, buzzed him. Dev followed up with the shot. You know, came with another hook in the right hand, crushing right hand right down the middle. You know, created the knockdown. It's lucky Norman and him is lucky that there wasn't more time on the clock because Dev probably would have stopped them. You know, but you know, I'm seeing some people talk about the fact that you know Dev didn't finish him. You know, Dev, that was the time Dev could have tried, but you know what? Why take the risk? This guy now is in a desperate situation. That's called boxing IQ. That's called brilliance. That's called tactical insertion right there, man. That's called being smart. Let's get the dub. That's all we got to do. We just keep softening them up. It's still early in the fight. You know, so look, Norman didn't look like he was ready. After at that point, when he got dropped, all his whole game plan and whatever he had going on, shit, that went out the window. Dev was in total control of Debo. Total control because, believe it or not, Norman was Debo. Norman was Debo. He was the one with the power. He was the one that needed to be respected. Dev was coming up to his weight class. But at that point right there, that's when Dev became Debo in the fight. Debo Dev, oh hell yeah. Yeah. Even he roughed him up. Look. I don't even think people really understand what Dev was doing, man. Dev was just using the simple step back. That's all it was. Of course, he was using his jab was accurate. One of the things that Norman Jr., you know, from studying film, he struggled with jab defense. But you would think that, you know, hey, I got to work on moving my head. You know, I got to make sure that I parry the jab or get underneath it or counter the jab or be set and ready, you know, for that jab. But he wasn't, you know. He was just looking for one shot. He couldn't get that out of his mind. All he wanted to do was get back. All I gotta do is land one. You know? And Dev turned the quote unquote bully, the one that's supposed to be coming forward, he turned him into a boxer. Literally boxing. One of the things that I said is, Dev, hey, Norman, if you come to box a pure boxer, bro, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. You know, you got to take risks, but that power of Dev, you know, that technique of Dev was way too much. And that IQ, you know, Norman rushed in, smothered himself, smothered his punches, you know, allowed Dev to tie him up. Even Norman was engaging and trying to tie up Dev and stay in the inside. It just wasn't one-sided. Dev was that, you know, Dev, he used a tie-up. Norman wasn't ready for that. You know, Norman, the great game plan Dev put on and just how underprepared Norman was surprising to me, man. Was surprising. It really was. You know, and Dev cruised to victory on the back end. Cruised to victory. You know, played it safe and simple. And he's moving on to bigger and better things. But that legend that was created around all of this, that vindication, oh, it's sweet. Oh, that's a beautiful thing, ain't it, Dev? Ain't it, Pops? It's a beautiful thing, right? Oh, yeah. Guess who created all of that? Or was one of them that created all of that? Right here. Right here. So say what you want to say about me. Say what you know what I'm saying? Like bring the hate. That it don't bother me. Like I've already been down this road before, you know? So it don't bother me. I tell these young fighters all the time, let them talk. Let them talk. Just prove them all wrong. That's it. Prove them all wrong. That's what Dev did. Proved everybody wrong.
You know, Tim, going in when we spoke last time before the fight, I mentioned to you that when I interviewed Devin, I felt a sense of maturity, like just more control. You know, I mentioned his dad hadn't, I didn't see his dad as much, which you kind of chuckled about. But there was this confidence, and not that he's not always confident, but just this sense that they knew something that everyone else didn't know. And his dad too. I don't know if we give his dad enough credit as a trainer. He was the head trainer, and he didn't have anybody else well known in his corner. And we know his dad likes to promote and likes to talk and build up his son and so forth. But how much credit does his dad get for everything?
I mean, his dad deserves a ton of credit. His dad deserves a ton of credit. I mean, look, his dad called the shot, man. You know, you heard after the fight, Dad was like, hey, whatever my dad thinks who I should fight next, that's who I'm going to fight. Dad is like, hey, if he ain't a belt holder, we don't want him because they chasing legacy. You know, so that to me was, you know, alarming one in a good way, you know, because Dad trusts his father, you know, and I want to say that Bill did a good job, kid. You did a good job. Good job. You know what I mean? Like this was the perfect match to vindicate your son. This was the perfect match to show that your son, you know, still got it, you know, and it was perfectly executed. So I would say that, you know, you got a team. You got a team. You know what I mean? It just wasn't his dad, it was his entire team. You had Mickey Bay,
Yeah.
who understands, you know, Floyd Mayweather, and you know, he was trained by Floyd Mayweather Sr. And so he knows that particular style. There were times where I was looking at Dev and he just looked confident like Mayweather to me, man. Like you said, the maturity, it looked like it was a man versus a boy. Dev is right in the midst of his prime. Like these are the best years of Dev that's moving forward, man. Until, you know, he get in his 30s and 30, you know, 30, you know what I mean? When he starts getting to his mid 30s and stuff, you'll start seeing maybe a little change in him. But for the most part, right now, he's right in the midst of his prime, man. And it showed. He looked strong. He looked fast. He was accurate. And he, more importantly, man, he was sure of himself. And he was able to control every single aspect, even when he wasn't throwing shots. See, y'all don't understand that, man. You ain't got to throw punches to not to have control. You don't have to throw punches to have control. Dev had control the whole time from the first round. Even though he lost the first round, he had control. Seriously. Probably not on the scorecards at that moment, but fights are won over a 12-round period. You know, and that was one of my analysis when I said, man, you play defense first. You use your jab, You get in, you get out. You choose your spots wisely, man. You can win this fight, Dev. You know, but what I was worried about was what happens when he get caught, because it's hard to swim without getting caught or getting wet. It's hard to fight without getting hit. You know, and when he got hit, he was good. He was good. So Dev had a made up mind. Dev was confident in his abilities. Dev was confident that he was better than this guy. Dev used all the criticism, all the ridicule over the years that he's been dealing with since the Ryan Garcia fight and further on. He used that as fuel. That's what he did. You know, and that alone right there, that's respect. That's respect, Dev. Seriously, that's respect. So, you know, moving forward, like I said on my channel, hey, I ain't gonna bet it. I ain't gonna bet for Dev or bet against Dev. Like I said on my channel, you know, the minute I start, you know, believing and you know, the hype train and getting on that, that's the minute something happens. It's like, yo, Dev don't show up that day. You know, the minute I downplay the guy, you know, and don't think he that good, what he do, he surprised you. So I'm gonna stay away from Dev. Dev, keep doing your thing. For sure, Dev is a future Hall of Famer, man. He is. Straight up, first ballot. No doubt about it, man. He's done a great job, and his father's done a great job with him in his career, man, and especially getting him back from where he was a few years ago, bro. So, hey, props. Hey, Pops, I'm giving you props, bro. For real. As much as I can tell him to say what you did wrong and this and that and third, nah, I give credit when credit is due. I'm giving you credit, big dog, for real. Congratulations. Great job. Dev did his thing, man.
You know, there's this now talk about Devin unifying 147. We got the matchup potentially with Barrios and Garcia. I think it's been inked or it's close to being inked. Haney Garcia too is what everyone I think is dreaming about. What's your forecast there? Is Haney now just does he go in as the hands-on favorite in a rematch with Garcia?
I don't know. I don't know if he does or not, to be honest with you. I'm always honest with myself and I'm always honest with my assessments. Okay. Just as well as Dev did a great job, I still see some a little residue. It's still there, a little residue. All right. Yeah, it could be a part of strategy, defense first. I get it. I get it. I get it. You know, but I look back and I remember in the back of the fight, yeah, he was winning it easily. He didn't want to take too many chances. He didn't want to open himself up. But it's just like I saw Norman marching forward, letting his hands go, and it was less and less activity coming from Dev. I can't ignore that. Now, is that was design? Okay, it could be design. Maybe not, you know, but I'm just saying, like, Garcia has his number, bro. You know, can Dev be better? I think this is the best Dev that I've seen. Yes, Dev can get better. How many left hooks did Dev get hit with? I don't think he got hit with really none. Maybe one. Maybe one. He held the phone. So Dev right in the midst of his prime. Dev coming off a great victory, you know, with Norman Jr. He could be the favorite. He could be the favorite going into the Garcia fight. But again, Garcia got his number, man, and just some styles and some guy, it don't matter. It just sometimes a guy just has your damn number, man, and Garcia seems to have it. So we'll see. We'll see. I think the odds might be damn near even like it was for this fight.
Hmm.
So that's just it.
Yeah, I mean Ryan's got to get through Barrios first, so we don't want to jump to
Yeah, I mean, look, Barrios ain't no Barrios ain't no slouch. You
right.
know, you gotta respect all these guys. You know, Barrios can box. You know, Ryan like guys that come straight at him. Barrios ain't gonna come straight at him. Barrios is gonna box him. You know, so Ryan's gonna have some box. He's gonna have to be either the pressure fighter or he's gonna have to learn how to box too. You know, and that's just it. You know, you can have them fast hands, you can have that fast left hook, you know, and it could work for you. You know, because Ryan's really good at setting that shot up, but you know, I think he may need a little bit more for Barrios, man. Especially after Barrios coming off that Pacquiao fight and getting that draw with Pacquiao, who still seemingly look tough. So, but yeah, I think the division is definitely open. I think you got a guy like Conor Benn, 160 pounder that now has to drop and cut weight to 147. I think it'd be smart for Dev to even, you know, look at that guy right there, especially after him coming off a hot victory. That's something to look at. But, you know, I'm sure Bill has something brewing, man. I'm sure Bill is sitting back and thinking with the next move already. Or Bill maybe even have the next move already. So, you know, we'll wait and see what happens next. But I think the dopest part, and I think the more respectable part that I have for Dev, not only because, you know, what he went through and how he's able to overcome, you know, because that, man, you got to be a man, bro. You got to be a man. And Dev showed that he's a definitely a freaking man, you know, to be able to go through what he went through. And, you know, I think that, damn, I lost my train of thought for a second. But I also think that, you know, Pop's got the plan. I think I think Conor Benn could be a good move. I also think that, you know, you can do the Ryan Garcia rematch if you want to do that. I know that's something that they've been, you know, looking to do for some time. You know, they were looking at, you know, for vindication there as well. You know, make your wrongs right, turn them into rights. But other than that, man, look, I'm looking forward to seeing more. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing more Devin, what he does from here.
Yeah,
Uh,
Devin also told me, Tim, that everyone's been kind of clamoring about these kings, right? This generation of the quote unquote four kings.
Man, they better stop with all that king stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
stop. I'm sorry, hey, guy. I'm sorry. You know, you stop with all that four king stuff, man. Like, there was one era where they had the true four kings, bro, and let's just leave it right there. You know,
yeah,
let's find a different name. You feel me?
yeah, yeah. But he did say that he knew eventually they were going to cross paths, meaning the Shakors, the Tanks, the Ryans. Now, if we get Tank, or I'm sorry, if we get Devin and Ryan too, that's not a bad fight. But what would like a Devin and Shakur fight look like? You got Shakur and Tio possibly fighting. I mean, it seems like now is the time for these guys to finally get in the ring.
Yes, it is. And, you know, off the rip, I'm just gonna let y'all know right now, I would never bet against Shakur Stevenson. I'm letting y'all know off the rip. You know, Haney might be the guy that can compete and beat you know, Shakur Stevenson. But I again, I would never bet against Shakur, man. I think defensively, he's a brilliant boxer. I don't think anybody can outthink him. Um, yeah, or outposition him, man. You know, I just think he's just too slick, too hard to really hard to figure out. So, but yeah, hey, that's why we do the fights, right? That's why we
Yeah.
do the fights. I said that, right? That said that Norman can beat Haney, and Haney went in there and, you know, did his thing against him. So, you know, just because I said don't mean it's true, right? So
Let me ask you, Tim, if you've got a little bit more time. There's
yeah,
a few other fights on the card.
yeah.
The main event, Benitez, Benavidez, I should say, in Yard. I think everyone expected what we saw there. Benavidez is just too fast, too skilled, too good for a guy like Yard. But it's really what's coming next for him. He's already got Zerto Ramirez scheduled for Cinco de Mayo, going up to cruiserweight. Another guy chasing legacy. You can pick up a couple belts there. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you talk about his overall performance also, but just what he has in the future, maybe coming back down for Bivol, Beterbiev, thoughts on David.
How is look? Great performance by David Benavidez. I knew that was gonna happen. You know, you can look at my breakdown there. Well, the last three fights on the card, or the first three fights on the card, first well, one, two. So the main event I got right. I got the Devin one wrong. I got, of course, Bam. I got that right, of course. And I got
Abdullah.
Abdullah right as well. But as far as Benavidez, I always get their names mixed up.
A lot of
Because I'm about
B's.
to speak. Because I'm about to no, but I'm about to speak on. I'm about to speak on Bivol, and I'm about to speak on Benavidez, and also Better BF. It's like, okay, 168, you want the King Canelo Alvarez, but then when you get to 175, why you not fighting the King at 175? You feel me? Like, why you not chasing that guy? Hey, look, hey, I'm me. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna stay what's on my mind. I'm gonna stay the truth. Why are you not fighting those guys? Are those guys occupied? Are those guys not available to fight? Or these guys don't want to face you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go up to these weight classes and you're not picking up no straps. Does Benavidez got a strap?
175. Yeah, he got the one that B-Ball vacated.
Okay, so he got a strap. Okay, all right. So Bivol vacated that belt. Why? Did he vacate the belt because he didn't want to fight Benavidez, or he got injured?
Well, he's supposed to, well, I think maybe both. He's supposed to have a trilogy with Better BF.
Oh, he going to trilogy. Okay, okay. Because that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at fight those dudes, those guys right there. You know, you just got up to 175. You know, you fought some contenders there, but damn, man, let's try to get these champions, man. Like, you should be after a Better BF fight. You should be after a B-Vault fight. That's what you should be after. You know, now he wants to go up and weight, and I guess he's struggling making weight at 175, and I guess he wants to go up there to challenge Zerto at 190. Hey, look, Benavidez, he's a big guy. Benavidez knows what he's capable of doing. He can add that weight. He can keep his speed. You know, he got his first knockout at 175. I knew he would get it against Yarde. Yarde can't take pressure. Like I told you guys, you know, he couldn't take pressure. Benavidez was beating the hell out of him, man. You know, I mean, the breaks off of him, you know, from the second round on. And I thought it was going to be a little bit, at least competitive early first, 4 or 5 rounds. But it started to turn ugly right out the gate, the second round.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, man, Yarde is a decent boxer slash puncher. Um, just like Benavidez don't have a whole lot of amateur experience. But the thing with Yarde is that you can outthink him, you can outwork him. You can outthink him and outwork him. Like, I seen him trying to use certain tactics and stuff like that during out the fight, like, like probes and he was trying to be, complex or whatever, but still his defense still lacked. He got a ton of heart, and he got to be able to let those hands go. And I knew Benavidez was gonna be way too much, man, way too accurate. And once he figured out that this guy can't get away from a jab, it was all she wrote. That jab was killing him, and then the combinations to follow after that. But I want to see Benavidez fight those guys, those
Yeah.
big, those, you know what I'm saying? Get them name dudes. That's what I want to see him fight.
Yeah, and I did ask him, if he was disappointed that he was supposed to get, one of them after the second fight, right? And so I asked him, do you think you'll get one or both in 2026? And he said yes, but then he also didn't rule out going up and fighting Zerto and getting a couple straps at 190. So now, of course, they announced it right after the fight. He's fighting Zerto. So I think his plan is still to go back down and fight those guys at 175.
Once he go up to 190, he ain't coming back down, player. Sorry. He ain't coming back down. And I'll tell you this, that Zerto fight is not an easy fight. It's not an easy fight. Zerto can box, man. Zerto come with his own volume. Remember, Zerto came from 160, 68 pounds as well. So he got some hand speed. He got some boxing ability. He's a southpaw, just as big as he is, and he's been established at the weight class for some time. So, you know, and he can take a punch too. So that's not a. I don't think that's an easy fight for Benavidez whatsoever. But shit, if he can go up to another weight class and win a world championship, then hey, then so be it, man. I think if anybody can do it, he can do it. But
Yeah.
still, I want to see that guy. I want to see him against Bivol. Better be one of those guys. I want to see him fight them dudes, man. The best guys at 175 pounds.
I mean, think about it. Bivol beat uh, Canelo, dominated Canelo.
Yeah.
He beat Zerto, if I recall right. That was, I think he dominated
Yeah.
Zerto
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if we talk about him enough, maybe because he's not a US fighter, but that guy's tough to beat.
Oh yeah, yeah. Footwork is cold. Jab is cold. Very, very. Simplicity, man. It's a beautiful thing. Fundamentals, beautiful thing. Distance control is a beautiful thing. He uses that high guard very well. His in and out movement. His combinations. They feast flows. Yeah, he's very difficult and got a high boxing IQ. So he's seen it all. And he's been, man, look, anybody that can deal with the pressure and the punching power of a better BF, bro. I mean, you damn good, but you got to be a master at your craft to be able to deal with that type of punching power, and I'm gonna give better BF some credit. He does have a little boxing IQ too. He got an IQ, man. He's not dumb, but yeah, and he beat him, endured what he dished out. Yeah, Bivol is definitely the truth.
Couple quick other fights there, and I know they deserve some time, but I don't want to keep you all day. Bam Rodriguez, I mean, just again, just kind of makes it look easy out there against guys that are world champions, elite fighters. I mean, I think now he's top five pound for pound. I think he's maybe 25 years old. I mean, I guess my question to you, Tim, can he beat the monster? Can he slay the monster?
Come on, man. Come on. Look, man. There's weight classes for a reason, right? Ain't that what we say all the time? I know Bam is special. Um, I gotta, hey, look, man, look, you gotta go up to 118, 122. You know what I mean? Like those a couple of weight classes up, Bam. I think Bam is very skillful. I love Bam. I love his style. I think he's a tremendous fighter, man. One of the best we've ever seen. But the monster, I think right now, man, is too mature right now.
Hmm.
Way too mature, man. And he's continuing to get better too. And that speed and power. Of the monster, man, is something else. It's something else, man. That explosiveness that comes from him is something else. Bam flows well like water. You know what I mean? Smooth with it, but that monster is sharp, accurate. Um, that speed and that punching power, that's something to deal with, man, in itself. And man. I look. I think the monster would be the favorite, in the fight if they were to fight, but Uh, and that's no disrespect towards Bam either, man. I think Bam is a tremendous fighter, man. I just think the monster might be too explosive, man. Hits too hard and smart too.
That the guy that gave him that tough fight, at least for a little bit, Cardenas. I think
Yeah,
he's from San Antonio. He grew up with Bam. They grew up together.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
So Cardenas gave him a little run, yep, until he wore him down, broke him down with those combinations, that speed and that power, and stop him. Eventually, stop him. You know, I look, Bam. This is what I want to see Bam do, man. I want to see Bam go up to 118. I want to see him test the waters at 122. But get in there with a guy like Nakatani, man.
Hmm.
Get in there with another guy like yourself. Um, and improve it, right? That's just what it is. Improve it. Bam picking up another strap. That's great. this guy that he faced, it was nothing for him. I said he was gonna stop him. I said he was gonna stop him with a body shot that shouldn't go past 7 rounds. This guy, that he faced Martinez, give him respect, but he's not on Bam's level. Skill wise, not on Bam's level. He just hit hard. He's a tough guy. Yeah. And that was it. And Bam made it look easy, of course. You're gonna make it look easy because this guy right here, he's over here and he doing, plus and minus in math. Bam over here in trigonometry, and Bam is doing geometry and algebra 2, and calculus. You know what I'm saying? He just
don't forget calculus.
He's on a different level, right? You know what I'm saying, skill wise. So yeah, it's gonna look like that. The fight was boring. The fight was easy. It really didn't test anything other than his conditioning, Bam's conditioning, because he threw he threw a lot of punches trying to get this guy up out of there, man. And the guy was tough as nails until he found that kill shot, man. And it was just a nice, easy slip, outside slip, and a nice counter right on the money, bro.
Close the show.
Yeah. So, but yeah, good performance by Bam. Easy performance by Bam. He is him. Bam is definitely one of my favorite fighters, man. Today, for sure, one of my favorite fighters to watch, man. But we'll see what he does moving forward.
The fight of the night was a guy that you've had great praise for. I've done a lot of his fights, I believe, on ESPN.
Yeah.
In the fight of the night, I mean, Abdullah Mason, talk about having to go through hell to win your first world title against a guy by the name of Sam Noakes, who undefeated knockout artist. I mean, obviously Abdullah showed his skill. What did you think of his performance? And I mean, is he the future star that in U.S. boxing?
I think that everybody at 135 need to go ahead and hide those belts. That's what I think. And I say that with all due respect, but at the same time, like, I know what I see with Abdullah Mason. 21 years old, man, and I'm watching him with the Sam Noakes. And Sam Noakes is a freaking tremendous fighter, man. And I said that this fight was going to be a difficult fight. It could be a very difficult fight, especially late for Abdullah Mason. If you go watch the channel and you see the analysis, I say that. Not many guys said that. They thought that Abdullah was just going to run through this guy. I'm like, man, Noakes is a problem. Noakes is like a linebacker, man. I explained it all on the channel. But anyways, I see when I was watching them, and what I wanted to see the fight late. The early rounds, I knew, he was definitely going to have a lot of success because of his length, his speed, his timing, his counterpunching ability, and the way Noakes comes in, squared, leaning forward. I knew he was going to be able to, catch him with uppercuts and, check hooks and straight left hands down the middle. But Noakes took him well, man. But I knew late, that's what I wanted to see, because we've never seen him pass 6 or 7 rounds. We've never seen him pass that. So as the fight got deeper and deeper, it was like me watching a guy learn on the job. He starts off, sweeping the floor one way, and then he figures out, how to sweep the floor a lot quicker and cleaner, little by little, as he continues to sweep the floor, making little piles here, making little piles there, you know what I'm saying, and getting the job done. It was so good to see, man, because I was watching it, just his growth and his experience just in real time. I'm looking at him like he's figuring it out. In 12 rounds, you got to understand how to balance and how to, express your energy. Sometimes you can express your energy a little bit too much and, tire yourself out, but he had a lot left on the back end, right? There were spots where things got tough for him, where he was, he had to either take and kind of recharge himself, but I thought he did good in those spots. I thought that he held on. He showed that he's gritty. He showed that, hey, he's not just a boxer. He's a fighter. He got that heart. And sometimes that hit people the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? We hard, right? We as boxing critics and boxing fans, we hard, and we saying, well, he got hit too much by this guy, and This guy has too much defense. Shakur, he don't fight. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you're getting everything from this guy. You're getting everything from this guy. This is a guy that you gotta love and like. He's all action. You know, did he make the fight harder than what it should have been? Of course, but he's learning. He's literally learning. He's 21 and learning on the job, man. He's 21 years old, but for 21 years old and fighting like that at 21, imagine him at 25. Imagine him at 26, 27. Like, this dude is going to be a problem, bro. He's
I
going to be a
told
problem.
I told him that's Mike Tyson type stuff at 21. You know, it's funny you mentioned the growth. I asked him, Tim, the week of the fight, he got knocked down a few fights before that, a couple times in the first round, and came back and stopped the guy in the second. And I said, "What did you learn from that?" And he learned exactly what you just said, that grit, resiliency, like he to face that adversity and then go against a guy like you said, who's like a linebacker in there, who nobody else I don't think would want to face, and Sam Noakes,
Yeah.
and to go 12 rounds and bang and box and and do what he did. I mean, man, incredible performance.
Yeah, it was definitely an incredible performance, an eye-opening performance. Not only did he take a punch, he took a shot. He got hit. He got
Got
hit
cut.
flush.
Yeah.
Got cut. I mean, he did everything. He did everything. He boxed a little bit on the outside. He counterpunched very well. He fought on the inside. He was slipping and sliding and using angles and stuff like that, man, and digging downstairs to that body, man. Like, it was good to see. It was good to see, but it was like this prospect that we've been looking at, man, and it's like, he just graduated. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It's like, yeah, he was he was in high school, he just graduated, he's in college now. So that I got that type of feeling when I was watching them fight, man. But there's still a lot to learn, there's still a lot to work on. I analyze this game from a different set of lens, man. You know, I'll give him some game right now. Like, man, you got to vary your jab, man. Like, you got the stiff hard jab, but when you jabbing, you're falling in with your jab. When you stab jab, you're falling in. You're there. You're wondering why you were getting hit with those right hands was because you were falling in after your shots, and it was easy for Noakes to just counter you. That's why he kept timing you with the right hand after you got done throwing. So you definitely got to work on that and varying your jabs. Sometimes turn them into probes. Give me a little hand control out front as well. Just hey, look, a little hand control, covering space. Bow, hit him with a jab. You know what I'm saying? Move the guard. Bow, bow. Just little subtle things like that he can work on. And I see him sometimes in the inside squaring up a little bit on the inside. He needs to keep that foot behind him,
Mm.
or turn that corner. Don't come back to the front. A lot of times he'll throw a shot and he'll come and bring his head right back to the center, and he gets caught with shots. But man, like, look, I'm just trying to give him a little game. Look, I enjoyed the performance. I think the fans at home enjoyed the performance, man. If he wants to talk offline, we can talk offline, man. And I would definitely share some game with him. But for the most part, I'm letting y'all know, man. This dude right here is one of them be them future stars in boxing, man. He's gonna be one of the best fighters on the planet, man, because of that grit, because of that determination, because of that will to win, and that them skills that guy possesses, and how hard he punched, and how fast he is, and how strong he is, man. So look out, man. Look out for Abdullah Mason. A lot of guys not gonna be signing up to fight him. Trust me, they not gonna be lining up to fight that guy, especially not right now.
You say that. I told him that you said that about him, that you're going to be in that camp of turn the other way,
Yeah,
and he appreciated it. You could tell that. Well, he said, yeah, he's a unification 2 division champ, and et cetera. Like he paid his respect to you, um, but that maturity, like we talked about Devin, this kid's 21, and man, talk about just nothing really seems to phase him.
Nah, none at all, because he feels in his heart and in his mind that this is where he have always belonged. When you're working hard and you're sacrificing and you're dedicating yourself to your craft, that's the only way you should feel. When you're working hard and you know that ain't nobody working harder than you, and you know that you've been blessed with these skills and these hands, man, and you got that the heart of a lion and you got that mentality of a killer, man. Like you're supposed to feel that way, when you're doing everything right. So with that being said, man, Abdullah is definitely he's LeBron James, man, coming straight out of high school into the league and just balling. He's LeBron.
The chosen one.
Yeah, for sure.
Tim, man, I could do this all day with you. I
Yeah,
already
bet.
took up plenty of your time.
Yeah.
But man, I know people are dying to hear what you have to say. And if you want to catch a quick glimpse of what he had to say, go to at Timothy Desert Storm Bradley Jr. His channel is growing. It's hot. It's got the hottest takes in boxing out there, the most outspoken man in boxing. Tim, this was awesome, man.
Hey, I appreciate you, Jeff, for real. Thanks for having me on, man. And I'm here to let everybody know. You know what I mean? I don't back down. I'm here. I'm here to stay. I'ma always speak my mind. I'ma always tell you my truth, whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. But for the most part, I love this game of boxing, man. I love this sport. I love everything about it. And when you come to my channel, you're gonna get the real. And that's just what it is. But anyways, hey, congratulations to Devin once again. Congratulations to Abdullah Mason becoming the youngest champion in the game. Bam Rodriguez, you did your thing. Continue to do your thing. And of course, Benavidez, great job. And all the other guys that, suffered that L, you know what I mean, got their nose broken. Work on your defense. Anyways, that's my time. You already know the rest.
Tim, you're the best, man. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll
All
catch
right.
up again soon.
All right. Talk to you later. Peace.